Hello, this is Miss Jackson here. Today we're going to be looking at the feedback for the newspapers that you did on the significant events in the 20th century for the black peoples of the Americas. As you watch the video, I want you to look at the examples that I've provided that show good examples of work, but I want you to also focus on your own to find out what your targets are. What some people seem to struggle with was a sense of chronology. What I wanted you to do when you wrote your newspaper was choose one specific event and focus on that. You were supposed to either talk about the KKK, or Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat, or the assassination of Martin Luther King. You should have only talked about one of these things. While most people did do that, some people struggled with realising how far apart some of these events were. For example, the KKK, as shown here on the left, were in the 1920s. By contrast, Rosa Parks was in 1955. To put those in the same article shows to me that you don't fully understand the chronology of the period. You shouldn't be talking about the growth of the KKK in 1955, for example, when Rosa Parks refuses to give up her seat. Did you get the order of events confused? If you did so, maybe this could be your target. The first target is therefore, I need to make sure I understand the order that events happen in. Another target that some people might choose is to use more detail in their answer. Some people wrote really interesting stories, but what they didn't do was back up the story with some evidence or facts from the event that happened. You need to be able to show me that you really understand what was going on, and you can do that by adding detail. Let's look at a really good example of this. This student has included the time of the events. He's included the age of Rosa Parks. He's included the number of the bus that she was on, and she's included the name of the bus driver. It shows me that the student has really put effort into researching what facts happened, what events took place. Has your story got lots of facts in it? If it hasn't, maybe this could be your target. Another thing that you might consider being your target is to make sure you write things in the right order. What this means is that you needed to order your newspaper report. Did you start with the background to the event, then move on to the main events, and then think about the future? Or did you jumble that up and mix it all around together so that when the reader was reading, they weren't clear on what was happening? If you did the latter thing, maybe you should think about how you could put yours in the right order next time. We're going to look at this example, which shows a really good way of how to do this. The author has put in some lovely subheadings to make it clear to the reader what section they're looking at. Here we've got before, and here we've got the future. This shows the change in time, and it's in order as the article goes through. Did you keep to a sense of time? If you didn't, maybe this could be your target. The final target, target 4, is I need to write about significance. When I set the lesson objectives, I did tell you that the most important target was to write about significance. Most people did write a little bit about significance, but a lot of people only wrote 1 or 2 sentences. What I was looking for the top marks was a lot of detail about significance. This might include who the event affected, why it was important for them. It might talk about why the events were significant for a country, why it might change their laws, for example. Or it might talk about how the event is significant for the future. What might it do that means that other events happen as a result? Does an event lead to another? These are just a few examples of the kind of things you could have talked about. The example that I've included here is really good because it's included actually 4 paragraphs about significance. I'm not expecting everyone to do this by any means, but at least get a few really good sentences about why you think that event is important for the black peoples of the Americas. Do you think you've written enough about significance? If not, maybe this could be your target. So here's a final reminder of those targets. If you were target 1, you need to make sure you understand what order the events happened in before you start writing. Target 2 was to make sure you include factual detail in your answers. Target 3 was about making sure your information was in the right order so that you were looking at the background, the details of the main event, and, crucially, the future. And target 4 was the big important one. I need to write more about significance. Try and work out what your target is. Thank you for listening.